Oh yes, welcome to Irish Abroad Show for yet another Thursday. Of course, special day today. It's fitting that we are talking about some of the greatest exports of football in this country at the moment. On the day that's in, of course, St. Patrick's Day. So happy St. Patrick's Day to one and all out there. And happy St. Patrick's Day to yourself as well, Paul Tierney. I'm going to get the bad bit out of the way with first. I broke my phone charger this morning, but I'm not going to lie, it's not going to overly dampen my mood. It's only going to cost me couple of euros, get a new one. And the main reason it's not going to overly dampen my mood is because of events at the Emirates last night. Now, I'm going to confess, I was out watching my own team play last night, so I only seen the last maybe 15, 20 minutes on Sky Go, on the phone, in the car, with in rural Ireland, so interruption was broken up a few times. Seeing the Sky Sports 3 minute clip and seeing a little bit of Graham Souness, Paul Merson, Jamie Carragher, all that kind of stuff as well, and more post-match reaction. So, obviously, look, great win for Liverpool. It was always a banana skin of a game in hand, given Arsenal's form. Good 2-0 victory. But for the general vibe from what I got and seeing, like, Arsenal probably were maybe the better team in the first half. Odegaard misses a really, really good chance just before 1-0. I think Lacazette probably should be a bit more reactive and actually maybe round Alisson and bury that. But then Liverpool get the two quick goals, and that was that. And it was business-like, as it has been really from Jurgen Klopp's men over the last couple of weeks. Not playing brilliant, but the way I describe it is they're playing winning football. They always look like they're going to do enough to win a game.
Yeah, definitely. Just echo it. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone. Happy St. Patrick's Day to yourself as well. Yeah, I mean, I only saw the end of the first half. They looked like they were well in Arsenal anyway. Martinelli was playing very well. He was very lively. But the thing with Liverpool is Klopp brought them in. He shook them up a bit. He changed things when he had to. And you showed your class for a couple of minutes. I think they were two soft goals to concede, really, to be honest. But even if you didn't get those goals, I still think you would have scored anyway in that period of time because you were just so dominant and you were basically playing with Arsenal for the couple of minutes that you were, not the couple of minutes, about 15 minutes that you were dominant. It's just outclassed them. And I think that's the problem with Arsenal is like that's going to happen to them against teams in and around them and teams who are ahead of them a lot. They're going to push them for 60, 65 minutes or so, but then they're just going to, when the class comes in, they're basically just going to fall in their arse, unfortunately. And look, it wasn't too bad. Listen, I would have taken a 2-0 defeat before the game because usually it's 3 or 4 and that's not really any crack at all. But yeah, look, fair play. I don't know whether it's safe to say it's in your hands now because you do have to go to City, but technically it kind of is, but you do have to go there. So, see, I don't know. Like, I know they were talking about it last night in Sky. It's a complicated one, but yeah, look, fair play, a good win in a what could have been a tough game. But sure, look, you just have the firepower. That's it. That's what City don't have is the firepower, and that's why I think it's going to get you through.
Yeah. Couple of points I kind of want to just raise up from what you kind of brought up there. I agree with you without watching the game, but I can make relation to previous Liverpool matches. I agree with you. While the two goals, they weren't the prettiest from an Arsenal point of view. You'd definitely be very disappointed with the first one for Ramsdale. I'm looking at it from a different point of view. I think the second one's a really good finish from Firmino. I think from a cute tight angle. But I agree with you. Like when Liverpool got them two goals, that was it. It was the same way against Brighton on Saturday. Once they went 2-0 up, that's it. There's no need to overexert ourselves here. There's no need to go racking up a 5 or 6 in a win. It's not about that anymore. It's not about playing pretty football, putting up loads of score lines, playing, free fall. It's about conserving yourself, managing situations, managing games. And that's what Liverpool did last night. Once they went 2-0 up, no disrespect, the game was up, the ghost was probably up from an Arsenal point of view. Liverpool knew that they could manage the situation. And even if it was a case of Arsenal got it back to 2-1, Liverpool probably would have been able to up the gears again. Like Liverpool could drop off a little bit like that. It's the same way against Brighton the other day as well. And look, that's what title winning form is about. Like you look at Manchester United, anytime they would have won the league under Alex Ferguson, I don't remember every game, but I can't remember too many times when they blew opposition away this time of the season. The same 2 years ago when we went toe to toe with Man City. Liverpool didn't play particularly well in any of them games, but they did enough to win, and that's what it's about. And yeah, on the Sky Sports thing, I don't know. I actually kind of was agreeing with Paul Merson over Graham Souness last night. I don't think Graham Souness actually realised that since Tottenham bet Man City, it was technically in Liverpool's hands. So Liverpool, if they won every game to the end of the season, could have technically won the league, albeit it would have came down to goal difference. Obviously, the drop points makes it a little bit kind of easier. But I just find there's a lot of kind of contradictory punditry around Manchester City at the moment. A week ago, everyone was saying, "Oh, it's very hard to see Liverpool catch Man City with the way they're playing and everything else like that," because they were battering teams, and they just battered Man United 4-1. And suddenly now on the drop points, it's like, oh, they're kind of vulnerable and everything else like that. Paul Merson was right. Like, yes, they drew 0-0 with Crystal Palace the other day, but it wasn't as if they stumbled or they struggled. They missed absolute sitters. The Port misses an open goal. I don't know how Bernardo Silva doesn't score that. Like Foden, I can't remember who it was. It was Silva again as well, where he just seemed to have a simple tap in the first half, and his control let him down and ran out for a goal kick instead of trying to round the Palace goalkeeper. Like City aren't playing bad, and Merson is right. Like they can go on a run and just batter teams as well. Their running is slightly easier, and people forget as well. They still hold the advantage. It's still in their own hands.
Yeah,
and it's in Liverpool's own hands if they beat Man City. It's still in Man City's own hands if they draw at the Etihad, and that's what you have to realize. Now, I actually think I would take a draw at the Etihad right now, and I'll tell you why. Liverpool have won 9 games in a row. There's 9 games left. To win 18 games in a row, I think, is a ridiculous ask. I think it's too much. You look back to the Brendan Rodgers season, I think it was 12 or 13 wins in a row that got Liverpool from 4th to top of the table. And eventually you're just going to burn and you're just going to crash and you're going to meet a team that just won't allow you to play. And that's what happened that day against Chelsea. That is going to happen at some stage. So why not be the Man City game where you're going to drop points, but you're not going to lose any ground because you know City are still going to be the same gap ahead of you. The likelihood is City will probably still drop points at some stage between the end of the season. Now, Liverpool probably will as well. It's a case of can they take advantage of it. But look, 2 months ago, Liverpool were 11 points behind Man City, albeit with the game in hand. It looked over. And to be back where we are now, I would take it, and I'm kind of happy with that. And look, I enjoyed the title race in 18-19, even though we didn't win it. I'm going to enjoy this as well, like, because it's going to be an exciting conclusion, and it looks like it's going to be a good finish. Just quickly, I suppose, from yourselves, because we're nearly 10 minutes in, and we haven't really talked about much of an Irish angle here, other than 2 clubs who are highly supported in this country, and Creed and Kelleher sitting on the bench last night. Just quickly, from an Arsenal point of view, from top 4, it was probably a bit of a free hit last night. 3 games in hand, point ahead of Man United. Okay, Spurs are now back to within 3 last night, as we'll touch on in a minute. But like I said, like you said, you would have taken 2-0 last night. Yeah, like you weren't battered. You were competitive and played well for 45 minutes. I think everyone realises Arsenal are improving. They've got a lot of good young players. It's Arteta starting to get staff in his team, but they still are a long, long way off Liverpool and Manchester City. But there was a little bit of green shoots last night to say that, you know, maybe we can get there. But like realistically speaking, for Arsenal to get anywhere near and even start considering Liverpool or Manchester City in the toss, they have to get top 4 this season. It's a golden opportunity because 2 teams who have better quality than Manchester United and Tottenham are off guard this season.
Yeah, definitely. I think not being in Europe is a bit of a bonus as well. I wouldn't say it's a massive one because you still have to play in the cup competitions and all as well. And Spurs went out in the group stage. United have gone out in the last 16.
United are out Europe, so yeah.
Yeah. I think with Arsenal, the way you've got to look at it is the fixtures they have left. They've got Villa now on Saturday away, which is a really tough game. They could implode because of Wednesday, or they can go out and get a result. They have to get a result, really. They need 6 points. I said last week they need at least 6 points from these 3 games to be thinking about top 4. Villa away is a tough game. They've also got to play West Ham away. They've got to play Chelsea away, Spurs away, United at home, and there's one more at home as well. I couldn't think. I was talking to a mate last night and I said, you need at least 4 wins from those 6 games, or you need maybe 5 to be in contention. And their games Arsenal generally lose. So, look, that's what's going to be the difference this year. I think they've got a massive opportunity. Can they go and take it? Let's find out. It's a big game on Saturday morning as well. And being on Saturday morning as well, I'm not giving out about the kickoff time, but it always seems to be a tough one for a lot of teams when they go away. So, look, hopefully they can do it. I have my doubts, but look, they're there anyway. At least they're competing for it, and that's the main thing.
Yeah, there's probably likes of Sky and BT will probably back up the point that there's commercial and television and audience reasons behind it. But I think it's very unfair for Arsenal to play at 12:30 on Saturday after playing at 8:15 last night. I can't remember the top of my head. I think I know fair enough. Leicester are on Sunday. They're playing tonight, so fair enough. But Tottenham, you know, why they get an extra day, or why could it just not even be a case that it could be a 5:30 kickoff time? Like why can't the FA Cup?
Yeah, I think Spurs are getting an extra day because they're playing West Ham, and West Ham are playing tonight. So that's why I think
Oh, that's right, sorry. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Yeah. And that
yeah.
just reminds me, I don't know if you mentioned there, Arsenal still have to play West Ham away as well, don't they? I don't know if you
Yeah,
included them.
yeah.
Yeah, so yeah.
That's an
Yeah, look,
look.
it's
Yeah, that if West Ham get through tonight, and depending on what time that game is on, I think it's been chosen for TV coverage. I don't know what day, but if West Ham get through tonight, which I think they have every chance of doing, because it's only 1-0. I think that game becomes a little different for them. Like, do we continue with the Europa League, or do we focus on this? Because they've got a massive chance as well, and they're a very, very tough side to beat, as Liverpool found out last week as well. So, like, there's a lot to play for, like, and you can't call it because the games are going to be so tight as well. Even last night was tight for a lot of the first half, and the difference was made in those 10 minutes. So it's going to be like that for the rest of the season.
Yeah, the difference probably just at the moment is just as we finish up on this game is it was tight in the first half. Arsenal were probably giving it everything. Liverpool were probably strutting along in second and third gear. They go up that little bit for the 5 or 10 minutes and they win the game. And like Arsenal will get there. Like Liverpool were in the exact same position where Arsenal were 5 or 6 years ago. You can't get there. The breakthrough moment for Liverpool was probably getting top four in Klopp's first full season. And look what's happened since. Like, I'm not saying Arsenal are going to follow the same trajectory, but it's a massive, massive help. There's no two ways about it. But anyway, we're over 10 minutes in. We're a little bit behind on schedule. I know you were desperate to get to the pub. I'm facing a hat trick of a quiet St. Patrick's Day due to medical reasons. But we'll crack on with the Premier League, and we'll
I'm
crack
not.
on the
I'm not
weekend.
going that. I'm not going that early. Generation doesn't start to have one.
But you want to get in, get a good seat and everything else like that. In fairness, as I mentioned, like I unfortunately was after an operation last week, so I'm still on antibiotics and not in a situation, unfortunately, to go to the pub. But I'm looking at there's a hell of a day of sport ahead today between Cheltenham. You've got the post-primary school finals in Croke Park in the GA, and then obviously you've got your double bit of Europa League and Conference League games tonight. So I'll have no excuse not being
Everton and
Everton,
Newcastle as well
Newcastle,
tonight.
yeah, which we'll probably touch on because there will be Irish involvement in that game tonight. But anyway, Nathan Collins gave away a penalty in injury time and was also sent off for that challenge as Burnley lost 2-0 away to Brentford, a crucial defeat for Sean Dyche's team. And along with Watford's win a day later against Hampton, they now dropped to 19th in the table. Collins will now miss their next 3 matches, and it's a heavy schedule for Burnley because they face 3 games in 7 days after the international break against Man City at home, Everton at home, and Norwich away. Ben Mee is injured at the moment, although I think he will be back for that Man City game because I think Sean Dyche was even expecting him to be part of the matchday squad against Brentford. But if he isn't, and it ends up being a longer injury than expected, you'd imagine that's an opportunity for Kevin Long to come in then for them games. But as I say, I think Mee probably will be back fit in 3 weeks' time. The Burnley Express gave him a 5.5 out of 10 rating, saying he defended exceptionally well in the main, competing well in the air and on the ground against Toney, as he and Tarkowski negated the striker's threat until the final 5 minutes, made a phenomenal challenge in the first half to prevent Janelt from getting a shot away at goal when the German looked certain to score, but collected Burnley's first red card in 120 Premier League games when shoving Toney in the back in stoppage time. Matt Doherty started for the 4th game in a row as Tottenham lost a vital game in the race for top 4, losing 3-2 away to Ronaldo-inspired Manchester United. That result at the time left Spurs 8 and 6 points behind Arsenal. We touched on, they're now up to 7th and just 3 points behind Arsenal. Now, they had played the same number of games, but they still have to play each other in a rearranged game, if that makes any sense.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. That's going to be a massive game.
Basically, they're the same number of games played, but they've games in hand in Man United, and one of them is against each other. That's probably the best way of describing it.
They haven't rearranged it yet, but that's going to be a huge game whenever they put it on. Like it's always a tasty game. Arsenal haven't won there in a couple of years, but that's going to be a really, really, like, if Spurs are up for it, because I've both teams are up for it, because they can be just as bad as each other as well. So it's should be an interesting one.
Just touched on that as well. I was just looking at that rescheduled list. A lot of games were announced there during the week. I think it's going to happen at some team is going to. It happened Man United last year. They've had to play 2 rearranged games in a week. I think it's going to happen someone yet, and I think it could happen Liverpool because they have the Man United rearranged game already in between Champions League quarterfinals and semi-finals that week. If they beat Nottingham Forest on Sunday, they're in an FA Cup semi-final. That's going to lead to another rearranged game. And if they win that and get to an FA Cup final, that's going to lead to another rearranged game. And while Liverpool get to a Champions League semi-final, there's only 2 more free spaces. So I wouldn't be surprised if Liverpool possibly fall into that trap. I'm a little bit worried about that point of view as much as I want them to win 4 games.
Yeah.
But look, maybe my theory might be proven wrong, but
Yeah.
we'll have to wait and see anyway. Anyway, continuing on with that game, SpursWeb.com gave Doherty a 6.5 out of 10 rating, saying a real threat going forward down the right, arriving late in the box and making diagonal runs. A couple of iffy moments at the back against Sancho and Cole. And I actually would accurately agree with that from watching the game on Saturday. With a small bone started just his second league game, his first since December, but was substituted at half time as Southampton lost a hat trick of games, this time going down to relegation Trent Watford 2-1 at home. Shane Long came on the dying seconds of this game as well for the Saints. Hampshire Live get a small bone, a 5 out of 10 rating, saying nice to see him back on the pitch, playing in a more advanced role, but didn't have a huge impact though, subbed at half time. And finally, from the Premier League, Seamus Coleman was part of the Everton side that lost their 4th straight game. I think it's only 2 wins now in 19 for the Toffees, going down 1-0 at home to Wolves. They're only now above the relegation zone on goal difference. They do have games in hand. One of them tonight at home against Newcastle. How badly they need 3 points in that one. He got a 6 out of 10 rating from the Liverpool Echo, saying, got forward with good effect in the first half to carve out some dangerous crosses, but found himself more on the back foot after the break as the host fell behind and reverted to the usual right back role. So nice bit to get through there from the weekend, Paul, from the Premier League. Obviously, as well, should mention there, I think you have it there. Shane Duffy and Matt Doherty both played in Brighton and Tottenham versus last night. 2-0 victory there for Tottenham. So Matt Doherty's charge is getting the better of Shane Duffy's outfit. But in general, that's probably the most heavy Irish involvement in quite a while. Not a lot of positivity, though, when you look at it. Nathan Collins being sent off, maybe a bit unfortunate. And Will Smallbone, good to see him start, but unfortunately not a great impact if he's substituted at half time.
No, definitely not. I think it was a tough one for Southampton on Saturday or on Sunday. Two quick goals put them 2-0 down. Obviously, they're going to have to try and change it. I think he came off for your man Broja, who's actually done quite well this season.
Yeah, he's been good
so
this season,
yeah. So like it's obviously a change in tactics. He's a striker. It's probably nothing against Smallbone at all, but that's just the way, unfortunately, sometimes. And Everton, my God, they're in trouble. My God, I know we say it every week, but like it's worrying how in trouble they are. Like, I know Wolves are a very good side, but I did expect Everton to get something from that. Wolves are a very good side as well. I have nothing but good things to say about Wolves. I can't believe Arsenal beat them twice as well, which is just amazing. But Everton are in trouble. It's a massive game tonight, and they could actually, if they win, they could drag Newcastle back down a bit because they've been on a great run. A tough defeat on Sunday against Chelsea, where they had a couple of refereeing decisions going against them as well. Whether it would have scored from them or not, we don't know. But not a lot of positivity, but at least there's lads playing. That's what we can say. There's been weeks here where we've had nothing from the Premier League, so at least there's lads playing, particularly Matt Doherty, who I think deserves to be in that Spurs side, because Emerson Royale is just, and I say it all the time, he's just not that good. Like, but yeah, at least people are playing. That's all you can say.
Yeah, I think we always kind of expected at some stage Doherty was going to get into the team because Emerson Royale is muck. And I mentioned there, it was 4 straight starts from on Saturday. Last night now makes it 5. Tottenham, massive game on Sunday as well, at home against West Ham. As you mentioned, like, there's a good possibility. I wouldn't be surprised that West Ham game goes to extra time tonight. Like, so there could be a leggy team there and could take advantage of that. Just finally as well, to break up with the Premier League, I'm full of making bold statements, saying not quite Irish related. But you mentioned about Newcastle getting stuck back in. One team who I think everyone is chalking off as safe, and I still think they've work to do, is Brentford. I know they've got them back-to-back wins, but the bet 2 teams are in the relegation zone. They're still only on 30 points. They still need another 5 or 6 points to be safe. I wouldn't be surprised if they went on a bit of a run and got stuck, a bad run, that is, and get stuck back into it. Now, they've got Leicester on Sunday. If they could get something from that, you'd be inclined to think, well, maybe this run is genuinely leading to something. And also, as well, I think Christian Eriksen's impact as well since he came in can't be underestimated. And he seems to be getting the best as well of another crucial player in the Ivan Toney, who's suddenly refound his form again since Eriksen's come back in the team. So I could see why people are pointing towards Brentford, but just word of warning, wouldn't be surprised if they get stuck back into it. And finally, as well, from an Everton kind of point of view, I think another thing that really doesn't help them is they have a manager who hasn't any experience at this level in terms of being involved in a relegation battle. And you kind of thought when the bet leads 3-0, that was it, that they maybe not so much so were going to be okay, but they might at least get the bit of a bounce back there from Lampard, because that was just his second game. I don't even think they've scored a goal since. Now, I know they were unfortunate against Manchester City. They were moments away from a valuable point. But, like, I didn't see the Wolves game, didn't see the highlights, but, like, they were absolutely woeful against um, Tottenham. I'm not sure if the game is live tonight. I think it could be on Premier Sports, so I'll give it a tune in to see anyway. Like, but yeah, worrying times. It could happen. It could be a massive contrast in Merseyside in a couple of weeks' time. One could be celebrating glory, the other could be find themselves heading down to the Championship.
Yeah, I mean,
sorry, Paul, if you're listening.
I think Norwich are gone. I think it's a killer
Norwich
of
are
result
definitely
for
gone.
them. A killer of result on Sunday. I mean, to get back into it and then concede straight away again, and then they had another opportunity to get a point again
Yeah.
after that. Great result for Leeds. I mean, I actually want Leeds to stay up because I just like watching them. They're just so bloody entertaining, and like even Rafinha, the likes of them. I know he'd probably move on eventually, but. And I have a couple of mates who support Leeds. I actually the goalkeeper of the team I play for said he was watching it on stream, and he said he was in agony. He was in agony watching it. It was, I'd say, you would be. It's torture. Like, great game, but it's torture at times. But yeah, I think Norwich are gone. I mean, Watford have got a couple of results I didn't expect them to get. Hodgson it's still shown that he's well capable of being a very, very good manager as well. I thought they were okay against Arsenal as well. I think Arsenal kind of took the foot off the gas in a way, but I mean, it was only 1 goal win. And look, Burnley are Burnley. That's it. We've spoken about them before. We don't need to say much more. Lampard is notorious for being a wide open manager defensively as well. So, I mean, I don't see them keeping many clean sheets. So, oh God, I don't know. I can't. My head says no, but like, there's just a bad feeling about them. Like, there's just a bad feeling around that club. But anyway, look, that's it.
Yeah, I think all we can just say is, as we finish up in the Premier League, I always say the run-in starts when you come back after the March international break. So we're heading into the run-in now in a couple of weeks' time, the start of April. We are in for a cracking conclusion. The title race is as close as it has been in 3 years. Top 4 race, you have 4 teams still well in the mix for one spot. And as we mentioned, the relegation zone, Norwich, for me, are gone. I think even if they got a point against Leeds on Sunday, not much use to them, unless they can really go on an amazing run, which I don't think is in them. But after that, as you mentioned, you've got Watford, Burnley, Leeds, Everton. There are 4 teams still very much in the thick of it. And as you mentioned, the likes of a Newcastle or Brentford still need to kind of keep their guard on that they don't potentially get sucked back into it. They're in a healthy position, but points-wise, they're not at that. They always say the magic 40, but really, the last couple of years, the late 30s yet. So we'll see what the crack is anyway. Let's move on to the Championship because there's so much to get through with a double game week. I know I was saying just there off air, I don't have any last nights, but I do have flash score up in front of me, so I can I know obviously from an Irish point of view who did what, and I do have Tuesday, so I can let you run through the weekend and then I'll do midweek.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll start off anyway. So we'll start. I've just done these in order, so I will start off with
Super.
a clean sheet for Mark Travers and Bournemouth's win over Derby on Saturday. And Aaron Cashin, Festi Abasele, and Jason Knight, the latter two were second half subs, played in that. There was a clean sheet for Sean McLaughlin. Birmingham's 0-0 draw with Hull City. Obviously, he plays for Hull. Darrell Lenihan's Blackburn were beaten 1-0 at home by Bristol City. Now, there's a club who, with Ben Brereton Diaz's injury, have been very up and down the last couple of weeks. They're still in the playoffs, but it's been very up and down for them the last, well, considering how well they were going. Michael Obafemi and Cyrus Christie's Swansea were beaten 1-0 by Blackpool at Bloomfield Road. They both played in that as well. Mark McGuinness, Joel Bagan, he was a sub, he came on, and Alan Browne all played in Cardiff's 0-0 draw at Preston. Joe Rafferty played in that for Preston as well. John Egan and Conor Hourihane played in Sheffield United's 4-1 defeat against Coventry City. Conor Hourihane did get the assist for the goal in that.
That's right,
but a bad day at the Rico Arena. I think they're back at the Rico. Or are they still playing in St.
They're
Andrews?
definitely back. That's if it's still called out. You know how these stadium name changes big time.
Yeah.
But Sheffield United have fallen off again in form, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately. But look, they're still in and about, and there's so many teams going in and out of them playoff positions. It's actually wrecking the head at the minute. Dan McNamara and Aaron Connolly played in the 0-0 draw between Middlesbrough and Millwall. Jack Taylor played in Peterborough's 2-2 draw with Stoke, and Jimmy Dunn and Jeff Hendrick helped QPR to a massive win away at Kenilworth Road against Luton Town. So that's the weekend anyway. I think I'm missing West Brom on Friday against Huddersfield. I'm not sure if any of the lads played in that, but if they did,
Just Callum Robinson. That's all
just
I have.
Callum Robinson. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was actually a big result because Huddersfield obviously winning 2-0, 2-0 up, but West Brom have actually found a bit of form the last few weeks, and I mean they could make a late charge. I know maybe they're a bit far off, but they could make a late charge if they open up and don't play Andy Carroll up front on his own.
Is that where he is now?
Yeah, West Brom.
Is he? All right, so he's gone from Reading to West Brom. So he's gone from relegation championship battle to promotion push. Yeah, the only thing you will say about West Brom is if they can take 4 points off 2 of the top 3 in the last 2 games, which they've done, and came from 2-0 down against Huddersfield, the omens are good. That was a massive win for them there on Tuesday night against Fulham, and that brings us on nicely midweek because they won that game 1-0 thanks to a goal from Callum Robinson. It was his first goal of the season since scoring the cup against Brighton in January. It's the 7th goal of the season total in all competitions, and he got an 8 out of 10 rating from the Birmingham Mail, and yeah, he actually replaced Andy Carroll in this game. Robinson worked tirelessly alongside Grant in attack and provided the winning goal with a composed finish. The striker deserved a standing ovation he received when replaced by Andy Carroll in the closing stages. He wasn't the only Irishman to score a sheet Tuesday night. Aaron Connolly got his second goal for Middlesbrough just over a month after his first, as they kept their promotion hopes alive with a much-needed 2-0 win away to Birmingham. They also missed a penalty in that game as well. It was actually Paddy McNair that missed a penalty. Now, bit of controversy around this. For all intents and purposes, it looked like it was his goal, but the Northern Echo here said that he was unlucky not to get the goal, saying it was going down as an own goal. But I think every other publication has it down as a goal. Like I seen only one angle of it. Looked like to me he got the touch, but he got a 7 out of 10 rating from the Northern Echo. Elsewhere, then just on Tuesday night, Darragh Lenihan, captain Blackburn, as they got back to winning ways, coming from behind to beat Derby 3-1 at home. Aaron Cashin and Jason Knight both started for Derby, while Festi Ebisetti came on in that game for the Rams. No clean sheet this time around, unfortunately, for Mark Travis, as Bournemouth conceded a late goal to draw 1-1 at home to Reading. So, along with Barnsley winning the other night against Bristol City, it was a bad night for Derby County. Then last night, Joe Bagel, he got an assist as Cardiff bet Stoke 2-1 at home. Also an assist for Sean McLaughlin as Hull City picked up an impressive away win 2-0 away to Huddersfield. Blackpool versus Sheffield United. That finished 0-0, just checking Irish involvement in that game. Just John Egan and Conor Hurahan also came off the bench in that game. Richard Keogh still remains sidelined for the Seagulls. And Luton, they spanked Preston 4-0 last night. Adam Browne captain Preston in that game. Sean McLaughlin Joe Raftery and Shawnee Maguire were unused subs in that game. But I am saving the best for last in terms of the championship last night because he's a man on fire at the moment. Stephen Kenny names his squad tomorrow. I think he's definitely going to be in it. It's Michael Obafemi. He got a brace. That's 2 braces now in the space of a couple of weeks for him. Swansea bet relegated and threatened. Peterborough 3-2, and Sammy Smallock's also scored in that game as well for Peterborough. So a very, very good, healthy midweek involvement from the Irish in the championship this week.
Yeah, definitely fantastic to see Michael get a couple of goals again. Look, if he's not in the squad, I think it'd be madness, especially for 2 friendlies as well. Yeah, look, good to see lads involved. Callum Robinson getting back on the score sheet. I know he's been in and out from it, but look, he's one of West Brom's main men. He has been all season, really. So, look, once he's firing, I think West Brom will do a lot better. And I was actually looking at a stat there the other night. Well, it wasn't a stat, but after Luton won last night, apparently they're only 6 points off second. So if they're only 6 points off second, then everyone is basically only 6 points off second. Because Bournemouth, as you mentioned, are just the most... Yeah, Bournemouth are the dodgiest team in that division. They played a couple of the games in hand now. I think they've only got 2 left. I mean, they're not taking much points from them, as you've mentioned. So anyone could take that second spot. I mean, anyone could come into that. And imagine like Luton Town getting automatic promotion. Like, you know, I know they've been in the top division before, not in the Premier League, but in other years. But like they were in the conference not too long ago, which is just mental. And I know you said last week you'd rather not have the likes of Huddersfield, Luton, but it'd still be mental. Like, you know, a little club like that with a ground that you have to go through a back garden to get in, like, you know.
Oh, geez, I'd love for that reason alone. I would love to see Luton in the Premier League. Kenilworth Road, I love it. It's one of them proper old-fashioned grounds. And you say, like, you come through the back garden to get in. I don't know if they have redeveloped it, but I remember when Liverpool used to play there in the FA Cup a couple years ago. Like it only has the 3 stands. Like one of them was kind of only like a director's box or something else like that. No, I love proper old-fashioned grounds like that. I think it'd be great to see Luton back in there. And yeah, like they weren't in the Premier League, but they were in the last ever old First Division. Actually got relegated, I think, that season. I think also along with Notts County, or I think could have been thereabouts well, and they're in the conference. But yeah, it would be an incredible rise in the space of 10 or 11 years to go from not being in the Football League to making it up to the Premier League would be an unbelievable involvement. And it's great to see Irish involvement there as well. Club legend at Luton, Alan Sheaton, involved in the background as well, the management as well. Good athlete, old man. Like, so it's fantastic to see as well that there's always an Irish story linked in for the day that's in it.
Yes, definitely. And a couple of lads playing for them as well. I know Glenn Ray has gone on loan to Wigan, but Peter Kioso came back from MK Dons, and he's been in and out of the side and done all right. Should we move on to League One then? I can do
you can run through League One. Just if you want to be running through League One, if you just don't mind, I'm just going to flick on the light here in my room because it's gone a bit dark.
Yeah, Grant, so work away, man.
I'll be back in a second. If you just want to work away with League One.
No bother, work away, man. That's fine. Anyway, so we'll kick off with League One, lads. We'll start off with the weekend fixtures. Clean sheet for Gavin Bazunu in Portsmouth's 0-0 draw with Ipswich. Aidan O'Brien, Ronan Curtis, and Sean Raggett, who is half English, half Irish, but wants to play for Ireland. He played. The 3 of them played in that as well. Warren O'Hara, Troy Parrott, Connor Coventry, and Will Keane all played in MK Dons 1-1 draw at Wigan. So still basically the same in League One there at the top. That's all I've got from the weekend. In midweek, there's a bit more action. There's a clean sheet for Conor Masterson at Gillingham in their 1-0 win over Doncaster, with Mipo Odebeko played in for the away side there. Will Keane scored in Wigan's 2-0 win at Crewe. Obviously, he's part of our thumbnail as well. That's his 18th goal of the season. Great going for him. Chiadozie Ogbeni scored in Rotherham's 2-1 win against Anthony Scully's Lincoln. Rotherham still top of the pile there. And Daryl Horgan got 67 minutes in Wickham's 1-0 win over Fleetwood Town, in which Keane Hayes played in there. So that's all I have from League One. Do you have anything to add yourself, maybe?
No, that's all I have as well from League One. Not much involvement, despite the fact that there was midweek action as well, which is unusual. Got sorted there with the light on it. It's one of those weird ones. Like I closed the curtain before we started the show because the sun was beaming through the window. Now there's dark clouds, and I'd say rain probably isn't far away. It's typical St. Patrick's Day weather really here in the west of Ireland. I'll move on from League Two. Not much to bring you. Again, there was 24 games over the past few days between Saturday and Tuesday night. At the weekend, Stephen McLaughlin got an assist for Mansfield, but they still ended up on the wrong side of a 5-goal thriller, going down 3-2 away to Tranmere. And Conor Wilkinson scored from the spot as Walsall bet Sutton 1-0 at home. That brings him up to 8 goals this season. And then on to Tuesday, Conor Wilkinson has now moved up to 9 goals for the season, as he was once again was the hero by getting the winning goal for Walsall. This time they got the better of Oldham 2-1 at home. And only other bit of news I have as well from Tuesday night is ex-Bray Wanderers player Pierce Sweeney got an assist in Exeter's 2-1 win over Crawley Town.
Yeah, I actually have a couple more from the midweek as well. I just saw these.
Fire away,
John Rooney of Boro, who has he did say he wants to represent Ireland. Now he never has, but he wants to represent Ireland. He scored the winner for Boro against Scunthorpe, and Noel Canavan kept the clean sheet for Boro in that as well. And in that Walsall game, Emmanuel Osadebe, he is Irish as well. Looked it up. He scored Walsall's other goal in that game. So that's probably the most League Two action we've had all season, really, to be honest.
Yeah. Pressing stuff there. I meant to say as well, I can't remember his name. The lad you were saying last week for Portsmouth.
Sean Raggett. Yeah.
Yes. His father is Irish. Now he hasn't declared for us, but I think he has actually expressed interest as well there. So impressive. Digging down through the archives there, Paul. Very impressive indeed. I'll run through Scotland. Not that much because there was no Premier Division action because it was the Scottish Cup quarterfinals over the weekend, but there was plenty of Irish involvement still in that. So just seconds after we brought on, Aaron McAniff found the net as Hearts bet St Mirren 4-2 in the Scottish Cup quarterfinal, and he went on to grab an assist later in that game. And Conor Ronan was also on target this game for St Mirren, but unfortunately their journey has come to an end. Ryan Sweeney picked up a yellow card as Dundee's Cup journey is also over after they suffered a heavy defeat 3-0 at home to Rangers. And James McCarthy played the final 15 minutes as Celtic also won 3-0, also against the Dundee side, this time Dundee United, to advance to the last four. And it set up two absolutely juicy quarterfinals. You couldn't ask for a more spicier Scottish Cup semi-final lineup. Celtic versus Rangers, Hibs versus Hearts, Glasgow versus Edinburgh Derby. It's going to be the first city, a team from the first city against the second city in the final. That's, I'm not going to lie, I don't always show as much interest in Scottish football, but that is two mouth-watering quarterfinals or semi-finals.
Yeah, and four clubs who have a lot of good history in that cup competition as well. Obviously, Hearts, maybe they haven't won it in a while, but like they were unlucky to lose to Celtic a couple of years ago, I remember as well, in the rearranged 2020 final. So
That's penalties, yeah.
Yeah. So there's like four massive clubs there and a lot of Irish involvement as well, which is what we want to see.
Yeah, and just finally, one other bit of news as well from Scotland. It comes to the Championship. Aaron Doran got an assist as Inverness beat Arbroath 3-0 on Saturday. So I can actually bring us the rest of Europe as well, because I don't have the rest of the world. So you can cover your two favourite franchise non-relegation leagues, the MLS and the A-League. So just from Europe, just two bits of information. Firstly, from Belgium, Josh Cullen was part of the Anderlecht side that picked up an impressive victory, beating Royal Antwerp 2-1 on the weekend, a result that sees them leapfrogging the table. I think they're now up to third in that table. Still a bit of work to do. They're still not a bit of clear daylight in terms of getting European football, but they're having a very, very good season after a slow start. And Graham Carey played just under an hour as CSK Sofia lost more ground in the Bulgarian title race, this time drawn 0-0 at home with Selo. Ludogorets won at the weekend, so the gap has now been widened out to 8 points. I was looking at the fixtures. So it says there's only 3 more games left. Now, it's not just 3 more games in total, or just 3 more games in the regular season, and then it splits. There are 14 teams in Bulgaria, so it might split to a 7 and 7 situation, similar to Scotland. If it's a case of there's only 3 games left, so that's the case, so it's well over. But I would imagine it's probably an end of season split similar to Scotland, which still gives them some hope. But by God, they'll have a mountain to climb.
Yeah, definitely. I know in Belgium as well they do the split as well. I'm pretty sure they do like the Europa League and the Champions League qualifier or something that's complicated.
Something like that,
but anyway, yeah, something like that. But look, Anderlecht will be involved in that. So good to see in that sense anyway. And Josh is, I mean, he's so popular over there. And I mean, if he's not in the Ireland side, to be called anyway, he should be definitely be in the Ireland squad. He's playing brilliant over there.
I think it's not even. I don't even think it's the case in there. It's like he's a nailed on certainty to start every game at this stage.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not even up for question anymore.
Yeah. There's one more thing actually. Zach Elbazetti, obviously the Swedish Cup is on at the minute. It must be like the prelude to the season. It's the quarterfinal. They drew Malmo, unfortunately, and they were beaten 3-2. And he got a yellow card in that as well. So AIK are out, and they'll be looking forward to the start of the season in a few weeks.
I'd say that's probably just a pre-season tournament, just such warm up as that.
I think it's the cup, because Philip O'Connor was posting about it, and I think it's the League Cup or something like what they do in Scotland. They do the first part.
Maybe, yeah. I find it strange thinking it'd be the actual main cup at this area, and haven't even started the league yet.
Yeah. Anyway, they seem to be taking it pretty seriously anyway, because I was looking at Malmo's side and there's a couple of players I could pick out, a couple of AIK players as well. Sebastian Larsson and Mikael Lustig all playing too. So yeah, well, obviously you don't really want to lose to Malmo at all, but like, look, interesting stuff anyway, and summer football for the win, obviously. Anyway, we can move on into USA and Australia now, the two best leagues in the world. And we do have a goal scorer this week in America. Jake Mulroney got a 96-minute winner for Atlanta against Charlotte, 2-1 win. So that's good anyway, better than lads just coming off the bench. The other bit of news, John Gallagher was on as a sub as Austin were beaten by Portland Timbers after scoring 10 goals in 2 games. They were beaten in the third game, so that's unfortunate for them. And Jay O'Shea helped Brisbane Roar beat Gary Hooper's Wellington Phoenix. Now, Gary Hooper's a name I have not heard in a while, so I was happy to see it because he gave us some interesting old firm games when he played for Celtic. But yeah, Jay O'Shea, Brisbane Roar, they're improving anyway. They're not bottom anyway like they were at the start of the season.
Oh, so they've leapfrogged up the table. That is good to see. So yeah, I think that pretty much wraps us up for today. We're going to be back to a similar situation we used to be at the start of the season. We'll have a show next week, but of course then with the international break, so we'll have a 2-week break after that, like we used to have every couple of weeks at the start of the season. And then we're into squeaky bum time after that. Like, it's going to be full on hard hitting stuff from the start of April right up until, I suppose, probably the end of May.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to Easter week the most, with Good Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and some of them are playing Tuesday, Wednesday as well. So it's going to be mad. But look, that's what we want. It's fantastic watch. And look, happy St. Patrick's Day. Tons of sport on. Tons of sport for us.
Pubs are open this time, parades, the whole lot. It's our first normal St. Patrick's Day in 3 years. So make the most of it, not just today, but I suppose the entire weekend.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks very much, Jerry. Hope you have a good day.
Same to yourself. Thanks for everyone who's watching, and we'll chat to you again next week.
See you again, guys.